Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Everything sound good? If it sounds okay. So, thank you, Suvarna Mandari. So, this Gorpanim, all day today, I have been meditating on this bhajan by Lochan Das Thakur, which I personally heard Prabhupada sing in Atlanta in 1975. And it is my favorite of all the songs about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Parama Koruna Pahudwijana Nitai Goda Chandra. So this first line, Lochan Das Thakur is saying that there are two persons, two lords, and they are Parama Koruna, extremely merciful. You'll not find any other incarnation or avatar or personality more merciful than Nitai Gaur. Then it says, Shaba avatar Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. So Saba avatar Sara. There are so many incarnations of God. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, it says that the incarnations of God are as numerous as the waves of the ocean. They just keep coming and coming and coming. And we learn from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada that there are 6 different categories of avatars or incarnations. But nevertheless, Saba Avatar Sar, these two lords, Nityananda and Chaitanya, they are the essence, the Sar, of all the incarnations. For instance, when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, we learned from Prabhupada's Krishna book that when Krishna appeared, all the incarnations were in the body of Krishna. So in the same way, all the incarnations are in the body of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. There is no difference between Lord Chaitanya and Krishna. If you read the Caitanya Charitamrita, we learn, yes, Krishna is in the heart as Paramatma, as the super soul. But according to Caitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya is also the super soul. He's also in our heart. And then this word, Shiromani. These two lords, Nitai and Chaitanya, they are the crown jewel, the topmost, Shiromani, crown jewel of all the incarnations of God. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Now this line is very significant for me. Kevala Ananda Kanda. So there are different spiritual practices. The Mayavadis, the impersonalists, they have to perform very, very severe austerities, extremely severe. And they cannot enjoy a big Prashadam feast that you will enjoy either tonight or tomorrow. We always have a big feast. ISKCON is known for its feasts. But Mayavadi impersonalists, no. They have to eat little, so little. That is their process, the impersonal path. And personally, I could never be an impersonalist, a Mayavadi. No. And there are so many different yoga processes. I cannot do yoga. I cannot I can't do it. So if that was the process, I would not be a devotee. But Lord Chaitanya's process is simply joyful. Kevala, only, exclusively ananda, pleasurable, joyful, like we learn in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9. Susukam kartum avyayam. Krishna says, my Bhagavad Gita process is easy, susukam. Sukam means happy, pleasure, and susukam means more, topmost. So Lord Chaitanya's process is simply joyful. And what is that process? And this is the religion I joined. I joined the religion of chanting, dancing, and feasting. Haribo. That's the religion I joined. I have said many times in public that I did not join a Hindu religion. No, this is my religion. Simply chanting, dancing, and taking Prashadam. That's the religion I belong to. So that is Prabhupada's also. That is the ISKCON way. So that's the first verse. Now we go to the second verse. Bhajo bhajo bhai, Caitanya nitai, sudrida bishwasa kori. So Lochandas Thakur is saying, my dear brother, my dear sister, please, you follow Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. You worship Lord Chaitanya, like it says here, bhaja. Actually, we learn from the teachings of Prabhupada. Most people, when they translate the word bhaja, they translate it as worship. But we learn from the Bhagavad Gita purport in the last verse of the 6th chapter, where Bhakti Siddhanta, Prabhupada quotes Bhakti Siddhanta, that actually bhaj, now worship, no, it means to render service. That is the real meaning of this word, bhaja. Yes, we can worship a demigod or some respectable person, but the true implication of this word, bhaj, is to serve. So the author of this song is addressing his brothers, his sisters. Bhaja, bhaja. You simply worship this Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, Sudrida Bishwasa Kori. Now this is significant. With firm conviction and faith. That is the key to success. Now the question arises, Prabhu, how do I get this firm faith? How do I get this conviction? Aha. You get this conviction by associating with someone who already has it, such as the spiritual master. Those who have Brahman initiation in ISKCON, they have to chant 7 Gayatri mantras. And repeatedly we see this word, prachodayat. We become enlivened, we become enthused by the spiritual master. That is how we become enlivened. So by the association of advanced devotees, in particular the spiritual master, and associating with good devotees, you will gradually develop that firm faith and conviction. It's for everybody. I started out from ground zero, but by coming to the temple, associating with the devotees, hearing Prabhupada, then my faith developed more and more and more and more. Every day, I am studying Prabhupada's books. I'm listening to his bhajan and kirtan. Simply by hearing from the spiritual master, you will get firm conviction and faith. Everything starts from hearing. And this is also confirmed by Lord Caitanya. Everything begins from hearing, but you have to hear from the pure devotees, the advanced devotees. So we want to worship Lord Caitanya Nityananda, meaning serve them, and we have to do that with firm conviction and faith. Now, there's only one little thing that needs to be added. Vishaya chadiya serashema jiya muke bolo hari hari. Yes, there is one little problem. That if you want to actually relish this chanting and dancing, if you really want to enjoy it, relish it, then I have to give up sense gratification. That's the hard part, especially us householders. Us householders have one foot in the material world and one foot in the spiritual world, and there's always a tug. That's householder life. We have to deal with the material energy so much. Those of you who have jobs, who have to deal with the material world. Yes, it's a struggle. It's hard to maintain your Krishna consciousness. But that's why Prabhupada said, okay, just simply follow these 4 regulative principles. Then you can actually experience Krishna consciousness. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. You give these 4 things up, then you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and you will begin to taste. Because by following these regulative principles, you become situated in the mode of goodness. And from the mode of goodness, you can springboard onto the transcendental platform. So strictly following these principles and also chanting Maha Mantra, little by little your taste for the holy name, your taste for Krishna consciousness will increase, 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 and little by little your material taste will diminish. No, you will no longer be attracted by like we learn in the Bhagavad Gita. You have to get the higher taste. In the 2nd chapter, you get the higher taste, and when you get the higher taste, then that lower material taste starts to wane. So then, Muke Bolo Hari Hari. Now, you're on the platform of goodness, mode of goodness. Now with your mouth, chant Hari, Hari, the holy name of God. That is the secret of success. Now, Deko ore bai tribhuvane nai emona doyala data. Lochan Das is now saying, my dear brother, examine all this. Where in the 3 worlds will you find anyone like Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda? You do a very, very impartial investigation of anyone. And Lochan is saying, now, you're not going to find anyone more wonderful than these 2, Nityananda and Caitanya. Pashu pake jure, pashana vidare, shuni jar guna gata. Yes, their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry, and according to Lochan Das Thakur, even the stone can melt, because Lord Caitanya and Nityananda, they are God, they are unlimited, they're omnipotent. There is no material designation or limitation. So yes, they can make the birds and beasts cry out of ecstasy. They can melt the stone. So our job is to try to melt the stone-hearted man. And that is why we preach. And preaching is the quickest way to be recognized by Krishna. If you want to be recognized, start some preaching. And preaching, there are so many ways to preach. Zoom, this is why I love Zoom. It is a great facility for preaching all over the world. Here I am in sunny California, and I'm speaking to you there in Austin, Texas, hundreds and hundreds of miles away. But we are using this Zoom for preaching. And whoever you see, whoever you meet, Lord Caitanya gave the instruction to the Kurma Brahmin, you simply, whoever you see, whoever you meet, you tell them something about Krishna. Everyone can be a preacher, whether you're a school child, whether you're a mother, father, husband, regardless. Where there's a will, there's a way. So the first thing is to accept, yes, I need to do some preaching. I need to raise myself to the second platform of Vaishnavism, the Madhyama Adhikari. The Madhyama Adhikari is a preacher. The Kanishna, the neophyte, he simply goes to the temple, worships the Lord. But the second class, Madhyama Adhikari, he sees it in his responsibility to make others as fortunate as themselves. And Prabhupada told us, and there's one very, very classic recording of Prabhupada in Los Angeles when he was doing a memorial service for his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta. It's a very beautiful lecture. And he said that, yes, if you want to help me, then preach. Continue this movement. Go out and preach. You can distribute books. Those of you who work, you can distribute Prashadam. My wife used to do that in the law office. She was a secretary. So she would make some nice, delicious prasad and leave it out on the desk. And all throughout the day, the big fat lawyers would come by. What is this? And they would take some Prashadam. They didn't know. So yes, even by prasad distribution, you can preach. But everyone should do some kind of preaching that will raise you to the higher level. So we can try to make these stone-hearted men become devotees simply by setting a good example and preaching the message of Lord Caitanya and Lord Krishna. Sangsare majia rohili poriya sepade nahila asha. So, in the final verse, Lochandas Thakur says, because Vaishnavas are meek and humble, Vaishnavas never present themselves as being advanced. Lord Caitanya gives the example. The tree that has no fruits or flowers, the branches stand straight and tall. But that tree, which is overloaded with fruits and flowers, forces the branches of the tree to droop down. So in the same way, somebody who actually has spiritual qualities, fruits of love of God to distribute, you can tell that person because they present themselves meek and humble, not proud. No. The devotee who has gifts to give, very meek and humble. That's why now I must offer my respects to all the devotees there in Austin, Texas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And now somebody might be thinking, oh, Prabhu, I don't feel humble. I said, okay, fake it. You can fake it. That's what I do. And if you simply make the attempt, you will see Krishna will help you. Krishna will inspire you. But we are meant to give the gifts that Prabhupada gave me. That's why I'm still doing this. Because I understand, I realize Prabhupada saved me from hell. Definitely. I was on my way. I had a first-class ticket to hell before meeting Prabhupada. My seat was already booked in hell. The visa was cleared. My seat was waiting. But Prabhupada picked me up. He accepted me, as Suvarna said. Prabhupada accepted me and gave me this name, Nirantara Dasa. Oh, what a wonderful. I'm no longer Nicholas D'Angelo. That guy is gone. I am Nirantara Dasa, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of all the devotees who are following Prabhupada. That's what makes someone glorious, when they can see themselves servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. As Lord Caitanya teaches, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudas. We never claim that, and there's that one exchange where Prabhupada is explaining to someone that we do not consider ourselves devotees of Krishna. No, we see ourselves as servants of the devotees of Krishna. That's Vaishnava humility. The more I can be meek and humble, now I'm making advancement. Apanakarama bunjaye shomana kohoye lochana dasa. So, Lochan Das Thakur is showing by his song here that if I'm not attracted to this Sankirtan movement of Lord Caitanya and Nityananda, if I am adverse to this Sankirtan movement, it means only one thing. Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, simply is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted. But again, if I recognize I have no attraction, you can get the attraction, you can get the taste by associating with your spiritual master and by nice, pure devotees. Association, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught, association with devotees is very, very important. All advancement, you want to make advancement, everything comes from association. Especially association with your spiritual master. I'm emphasizing this because this is what I'm learning now. By associating with my spiritual master, hearing his voice every day, studying his books, using Prabhupada's words, cramming his books, cramming it, getting it in there. That is how I'm going to get a taste for this Krishna consciousness. Now, my good, well-wishing friend Suvarna Manjari told me, I asked her advice. So this morning she said, speak something about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So as soon as I read that nice text message, I thought, let me talk one very special pastime that I find very inspirational. And that is the pastime of Lord Caitanya accepting Prashadam at the house of Sarba Bhoma Bhatta Acharya. Sarba Bhoma and his wife, they made very nice prashad for Lord Chaitanya. And they constructed a new room, and everything was set up nicely. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had a son-in-law named Amoga. And Amoga, even though he was born in a Brahmana family, he was afflicted by jealousy. So, Sarvabhauma knew that if his son-in-law Amoga was to see Lord Caitanya eating nice Prashadam, Amoga would find fault. So Sarvabhauma was waiting at the door with a stick in his hand so that his son-in-law would not disturb Lord Caitanya. But something happened. He got distracted, and so Amoga came in and made some comment. Ha 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 ha. Just see how much this sannyasi is eating. Ha 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 ha. So, and then Sarvabhauma turned and chased him with the stick. Get out of here, you rascal. So Sarvabhauma went to Lord Caitanya, fell down. I'm so sorry, my Lord, I'm so sorry. My son-in-law, he's such a rascal. He disturbed you. Please, I'm very, very sorry. Lord Caitanya said, no problem, nothing, no problem. But what happened? Later on that night, Amoga fell down with a very serious disease, cholera. And he was on his deathbed. And Sarvabhauma and his wife were thinking, good. I'm glad that Krishna is doing what I really wanted to do. So they were both very happy. Yes, let our daughter become a widow, because that son-in-law is such a rascal. He's getting what he deserves. He's dying. But Lord Caitanya, now he didn't hear from Sarvabhauma. Lord Caitanya heard from another devotee. And this devotee told him, Amoga, Sarvabhauma's son-in-law, is dying from cholera. This is what I love about Lord Caitanya. He's so magnanimous. Even though Amoga blasphemed him and criticized him, Lord Caitanya ran to where Amoga was on his deathbed. And there's even a picture, I don't know if it's still there, but in the edition, the first edition of the Caitanya Charitamrita, when they came out in 75, 76, there was a picture of Lord Caitanya preaching to Amoga. And Lord Caitanya said, Amoga, you are a Brahmana. Why are you allowing jealousy and envy to sit in your heart? The heart of a Brahmana is supposed to be pure and simple and clean. But you are allowing these witches, jealousy and envy. Okay, Amoga, if you get up and chant Krishna's name, and this is the line I like. Lord Caitanya says, if you can chant, Krishna will unfailingly deliver you. I love that word Prabhupada uses, unfailingly. So, somehow or other, Amoga woke up. He was on his deathbed. Lord Caitanya came to deliver him. Amoga got up and started to chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then Amoga started to slap his cheeks, saying, with this mouth I have blasphemed you, Lord. With this mouth, he repeatedly slapped himself. In other words, he had become completely free from envy, and he could see the faults in his way, and he became a good devotee. So this pastime of Amoga, where Lord Caitanya says, if you chant Krishna's name, Krishna will unfailingly give you his mercy. So we should never, never, ever ever forget this fact. One day you might wake up and think that you are in the lowest of the lowest of the lowest positions in your life. You may think that you have nothing going on right in your life. Don't worry. Please, when you see that you are at wit's end, then that's the time to seriously take up the chanting of the holy name. Because if you chant with any kind of sincerity, as Lord Caitanya says, you will get delivered unfailingly. And I have lots of experience of this. So I'm sharing this with you because I can testify. The chanting of the holy name is unbelievable. It's inconceivable. Take shelter of the holy name and be happy in your spiritual life. And Prabhupada writes in the first canto, one of my favorite lines, especially us householders. This is a good instruction for us householders. So Prabhupada writes, material well-being automatically follows spiritual well-being. So most important is your spiritual health, your spiritual sadhana. Take your chanting, your hearing and chanting, and make it a priority in your life. And everything else will fall into place gradually. But if you make this hearing and chanting your first priority, you will see your life will go on very nicely. And yes, you have to be healthy. You have to be healthy bodily and soulfully. So, soulfully, chant Hare Krishna, follow the principles strictly, and health-wise, get vaccinated and eat Krishna Prashadam and you can live a healthy physical life. That's okay. Yes, I go for a walk Prabhupada went for a walk every day. Back in October, I had a big scare and I thought I was having a heart attack. So I called 911 and they came and they got me. And on the way to the hospital, the EMT where I was on the stretcher, he was asking me all these questions. And so I asked him, is walking good? He goes, oh yes. Any amount of walking you can do will have such a great effect. And so after this episode, I took it very seriously. And I had some other issues in November, December, January, and all these issues were resolved, and it's all because I started to take my walking seriously. So keep the body fit, be healthy, and take care of the soul. Feed the soul. Don't starve the soul. The soul needs to be nourished by chanting and studying Prabhupada's books. Now, I would like to do a special thing here. Suvarna Manjari mentioned that I am known for my music, and I have a song that I composed. Actually, this song was composed. Wait, I got it. This song was composed by my wife and me, and I'm very proud of this song. And it's known throughout the world, and it's all about Lord Caitanya. So I'm dedicating this song to all these wonderful devotees in Austin. I pray, because I'm known, and Suvarna knows, those who know me, I'm the official ISKCON blesser. I bless everyone. After the program, before, I will bless everyone individually if I'm given the time. So here is the song my wife and I wrote back in 1980. This song was written. And this is a recording we did of it 2 years ago.
Lord Gauranga is calling. Please chant the holy name. In every town and village, there's no time for all your games. You know it's time to wake up. Find out who you are. Wake up, it's time to wake up. You've been dreaming on a star. Lord Gauranga is calling. Please come and dance with me. And if you chant, you'll be happy. Try it and you'll see. Come on,
Everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let's go.
So the rest of the song is in Spanish. So you got the gist of the song. So I have a few more minutes. So I'll finish up with pointing out what we learned from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Caitanya Charitamrita, that Lord Caitanya, he appeared for external reasons and internal or personal reasons. So the external reasons I've explained several times. That Lord Caitanya came externally, Patita Pavana, to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. How did Lord Caitanya envision delivering them? Simply by chanting Krishna's name, one will get delivered. So Lord Caitanya and the Panchatattva and all the associates, they distributed the holy name of Krishna everywhere. Lord Caitanya even went to South India for 6 years, distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Lord Nityananda went to Bengal and he distributed. So by giving the Mahamantra to the masses, that is the external reason. And by, of course, I've said several times, by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, you will develop your dormant love of God. That is so important to understand. Dormant. Love of God is already there. This is taught by Lord Caitanya. It's right there from his own mouth. Love of God is already there in everyone's heart. There are no exceptions. Everyone has the potential of developing love of God. And this has to be awoken. It has to be ignited. So that's the way that's done, chanting the holy name. So the internal or personal reasons Lord Caitanya appeared is because I said at the beginning, Lord Caitanya is Krishna. But let's take a look at a very important mantra. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvishe Namaha. Gora Tvishe Namaha. It is the teachings of the Caitanya Charitamrita that yes, Lord Caitanya is Krishna, not Radharani. Some people think, no. Lord Caitanya is Krishna, but in the mood, in the sentiment, in the bhav, the emotion, the mentality, the position of Radharani. Because from the position of Krishna, meaning Krishna the enjoyer, Krishna the omnipotent God, there are several things from that position that Krishna cannot understand. Now that, some of you are going to say, wait a second, I thought you said God knows everything. Didn't you say God is omniscient? Yes, he's omniscient. But there are a few things he doesn't know from the position of being Krishna. And what is that? First of all, Krishna looks at Radharani and sees that when they have their loving affairs, Radharani's enjoyment seems to be greater than Krishna. Krishna is looking at Radha, and Krishna perceives, wait a second, what is it? Why is Radharani enjoying more than me? I am the reservoir of all pleasure, and yet Radharani is enjoying more than me? How can that be? Then sometimes Krishna sees his reflection in a pillar, and because Krishna is all attractive, when Krishna sees his own reflection, he wants to embrace it, but he can't because it's his reflection. So if Krishna wants to appreciate himself, the best way to do that is to take the position of Srimati Radharani, because Radharani is the topmost personality who appreciates the beauty and all the different transcendental qualities of Krishna. I just read yesterday, I gave a class on Lord Caitanya via Zoom to the devotees of San Diego, California. And I was reading from Caitanya Charitamrita, and it was mentioned in the purport that nobody can serve Krishna, nobody can love Krishna, nobody can appreciate Krishna to the same degree as Radharani. So Krishna wants to experience that. And then another thing Krishna wants to understand, what does Radharani feel? What does Radharani experience? What happens when she's loving him, when she's serving him? Just like, it's not difficult to understand. Husband and wife. So the husband takes service from the wife. If the husband wants to understand how hard the wife works, because nobody works harder than a wife, he'd have to take that position, and then he would understand, oh, my wife is actually working harder than me. Yes, I said it. So, in the same way, if Krishna wants to appreciate what it means to love him, he has to take that position, the position of Radharani. So these are the internal purposes. Krishna, again, Lord Caitanya is Krishna from the position of Radharani. Not Krishna the enjoyer, but Krishna as the servant. And Srimati Radharani is the topmost servant of Krishna. You're never going to get anyone more. That's what the very name Radha. That name Radha appears the night of the Rasa dance. When Krishna disappeared from all the gopis because they started to get puffed up, and Krishna went privately deeper into the forest with Radharani. All the gopis said, Anyaradito, that gopi that Krishna left with must have worshipped Krishna better than us. That was the gopis' admission. So that name, Radha, that's the only time Shukadeva Goswami did not want to utter Radharani's name, because he would have gone into ecstasy and Bhagavatam would not have been finished. So he did not utter the name Radha or Radharani. But he did use this word Anyuradita, where the word Radha appears within, meaning that person who worships Krishna the best. I could go on for another hour, 2 hours, because the topic of Lord Caitanya is the supreme subject matter. But I've been told to end here, and I'm a little over time, I'm sorry. So before we do questions and answers, I'd like to give all of you a blessing.